What's good, yo? Welcome to the 10X Pay Attention podcast. This is the first podcast to kind of kick things off. I'm your host, your boy, Beni J, and I'm joined with some fantastic guests, people I really respect here in the city, in the community, guys I look up to. So to my left across the way, we got Miss Tanisha Cherry. Miss Tanisha Cherry, how you doing?
I'm doing fabulous.
Yeah? Thank you for being here
I
with
just
us.
love how you said guys and you didn't, take notes.
That's why I went to
female in the room.
That's why I went to you first, girl. I gotta hold you down, right?
All right.
And then to her right, we got my boy Henny Visions, obviously one of the illest photographers in the whole city, part of the 10 at 10 team, and over here doing his things.
Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, man, of course. And to my right, I got one of my idols, one of the guys that I first came up to, looked up to when I first moved to Calgary. We got Bedroc Ox.
What's up, y'all? How you guys doing?
Half Ghana boy, half Trini boy.
Yep, you already know what it is.
We got host, MC, lover, appreciator of hip-hop music, all things that way. So I don't know, we're here together, man, just at 10X Studio. We haven't really launched this place or anything yet, but we're just, getting in the mix now. We want to jump off this year with some cool stuff that kind of, happened in the past decade. Things that, how things have changed from artistry to music distribution, to streaming, online platforms, apps. What are you guys' thoughts, man? Like, how's things changed for you, man? Is anybody here still rocking CDs in their whip? Anybody?
I do.
Yeah, I do as well. I do as well.
Serious?
Yeah,
I actually prefer to listen to CDs in my car because, there's just too much happening with my phone. And then someone calls, they FaceTime, you get a text, it interrupts the song. So I actually like to listen to it on CD in my car.
That's wild.
I Bluetooth sometimes, but I do tend to get on the CD tip.
You guys actually still buy CDs?
Yeah, I still buy CDs.
Damn,
I
can
don't
you buy
buy
CDs?
CDs.
I didn't even know you could
So
buy
what
CDs.
are you burning?
Yes.
You're burning
CDs.
I'm
But you
buying
know what?
CDs.
I'm not even listening to really CDs. I'm listening to dance hall mixes.
Yeah, okay. You know what?
Okay.
That makes sense because there's
I
some
listen to a
amazing
lot of-
DJs on that.
Yeah,
And,
that's usually how I consume it in my car.
And you went to Jamaica this year, didn't you?
Yeah, but I didn't get any CDs because I was in Negril.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I don't know what that
Too
means,
tourist.
but
I was on the tourist side. If I was in I was on the tourist side. If I was in Kingston, I would have got mad CDs. But next few months.
Kingston, Jamaica. So yeah, I mean, what else has changed? Obviously, there wasn't streaming at the first half of the decade. Obviously we got the emergence of Apple Music, of Spotify, Tidal. Shout out to holding it down for Jay-Z and the artists there. So I mean, you versus streaming, you guys prefer CDs still? That's the flex.
If I'm in my car.
Okay, so
if I'm in my car. So if
living
I'm
room,
at home, I'm
bathroom getting ready for the morning.
Apple Music and Spotify. I actually prefer Spotify because I feel like Spotify is better to find new music, whereas Apple Music, I'm playing music that I'm already familiar with.
Right, I do agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah, the discovery on Spotify is really, really good.
Really good.
Yeah, as things are playing and.
But yeah, we weren't doing that before. We were burning,
finding our own stuff, getting torrents, going on websites like Mr. World Premiere,
LimeWire,
Giving
your laptop.
Two Dope Boys,
Yeah.
Stillroots.com. Dat Piff, definitely.
That Piff was crazy.
Crazy. Dat Piff's still around, actually.
Yeah, it is. Still doing
You
it.
got an app now. They got an app.
Right? And then Rap Radar, obviously, which was Eminem's thing, and they brought on Elliott Wilson, and Elliott Wilson created Crown, and went from blogs to vlogging to now being part of the Tidal family.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, obviously the emergence of things like the Shade Room, other online platforms, celebrity blogs.
Yeah.
Like blogs went to Instagram, I feel.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They went from-
They
Yeah.
did because we
For
had
real.
we had Nicole Bitchie,
Yeah.
and we had the YBF Daily, and then they went. Then when they switched over to Instagram, YBF Daily is still on there, but then Shade Room happened, Fameless happened, Baller Alert.
Baller Alert's heavy
Baller
too.
Alert, yeah.
And then obviously World Star Hip Hop, guys. We can't forget that.
Absolutely.
World Star Hip Hop changed,
I would
online
like to forget
consumption.
it.
I actually don't go to their website. I don't go to their Instagram. If you follow their Instagram, it's one of those things where it's like you can't do it in public.
Yeah,
because it's
absolutely
some
not.
next girl clapping the cheeks or
It's like
whatever.
Twitter. You kind of got to be it's not safe for work. You kind of have to be careful scrolling.
Twitter's a little bit easier. I feel like it's like Instagram's the live and direct
right
photo,
there.
just
It's right
straight
there.
up like sponsor ad and capsule and caps locks and the girls doing whatever. I'm like, really, fam? Like, there's like no information here on
You gotta have the
like
brightness
hip-hop
down. Gotta make sure your brightness is down for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Gotta make sure your brightness is down. You don't want to be caught, looking at something you're not supposed to be looking at.
Exactly. So that's been an interesting kind of development. I mean, even just being an artist, the way that you release music now is way different. You can't just think about a CD release and drop your CD packs and open up your trunk and then hand it off to people on the streets. Now it's about having an online, marketing strategy.
But even then, it's like artists who used to release like singles before they dropped the album. Now they could just release as many singles as possible and not even drop the album yet.
Yeah.
Speaking about singles, I think the art of the album has died as well in this past decade, right? No one even makes full albums, the full cohesive experience. Yeah, it's just like, let's drop a single, let's see what pops, let's see what the stream numbers is. We saw what Chris Brown just did. Instead of doing an album, he did 45 songs of all singles. And
never got through them.
And his stream numbers are through the roof because out of 45 songs, you're going to like something.
For sure.
Right? So
it's a lot of Chris Brown, though.
A lot of Chris Brown.
I
never got through it either. I think I got to like track
too
19
much Chris
or
Brown.
something.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot.
It was done. But
No,
shout out to Chris, because Chris, despite everything that goes against him as far as, how his attitude and personality and how he treats other people, his music still bangs. And, it's...
Oh, you fuck with Chris Brown?
Not feeling him?
Look, Benny forwarded me a tweet that I totally forgot about Carucci having like a permanent, what is it again?
Tattoo?
No, a permanent restraining order against him.
Right.
And how he used to pop up on her at her like hostings at clubs and stuff and stalk her and her friends after they broke up. Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He loves her, man.
That's doing too much.
Have you seen his
Call
new
that
girl?
love?
Have you seen his
Call that
new
love?
His
They're
new
actually
girl
not
looks
together.
just like her.
They're actually not together, but they
No?
did have a baby.
Oh.
Shout out to his new son.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
Oh, okay. I
Don't know how it's pronounced, but yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, Aiko. Yeah,
Aiko.
So they look
Brown.
exactly the same?
Well,
I mean,
looks-
she's Blasian, right? Black.
Chris Brown has a
Oh,
type.
No,
okay.
definitely
Brown
has a
has a
type.
type.
I mean, she's a nice type. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the type. No?
Not a
You
fan.
kind of not a fan of it.
Support black women.
Listen, she
we
is
doing that, we
black.
doing that.
Can you not? Can you not? We're just getting started, girl. We're just getting started on the hot button topics. Yeah. What else about the past decade, man? I mean, obviously we saw the rise of certain artists. We can't even begin this conversation without talking about Drake. Obviously, Drake, the emergence of Drake from SoundCloud. Not even SoundCloud. We're talking Canada to Young Money, which was obviously the biggest label behind Cash Money.
To the world.
To the world, right?
world, man.
And he really represented and showed people that there is talent in Canada that can be international, but not even international. Like what Drake has done is now all time.
I hate to admit it, but everything that Drake touches is gold.
It's hot, bro.
It's
That's a
hot.
fact.
and it's been hot for 10 years.
Yeah.
Been hot,
Like anybody
bro.
that wants to hate on it, like they're just
Can't.
not paying attention.
Can't.
It's that
I
simple.
don't know.
the-
Like the music. Come on.
What?
The business
No.
side, though. Look at Drake.
I feel like his business side has definitely flourished more in the last few years, whereas his music, for me personally, is not as great as when he first started putting out music.
Hold on. You don't like Controller?
you're
That was
dancing to
cute.
that. You're dancing to that.
That
You're
you
dancing
was
to
a
that.
that's a
vibe.
tune. That's like you get a bubble
That was
every
a
single
cute-
time that song comes on. You
I'm
bubble.
not saying that he hasn't put out some hits, but as for body of work and albums, I don't feel like he has been concentrating on them as much as he did previously.
So what do you think in his past?
I feel like his last best album was Nothing Was the Same.
I think you're
Fight
not
me if you
wrong
want to.
because I don't think he makes good albums.
He doesn't
Like,
anymore.
I
He
think
used to.
name a classic Drake album.
I don't think he has his classic yet.
Exactly. I don't
He
think he
doesn't
makes
have his
good
classic
albums.
yet, but he makes great albums. They're just not classics.
How can you say great and not classic at the same
Because
time?
I'm looking at it as it was a great body of work.
He makes amazing singles. I think he makes moments. I think we dance to his stuff. We meme his stuff. We know who drops an Instagram photo without one of his captions
That's
or
what I'm
one of
saying.
his bars for captions. Like he
Absolutely.
shifts culture.
He
When
does.
Back to Back happened, we were just like, "Yo, Drizzy!" Like it wasn't about bar for bar. I'm gonna outspit you. It was just like I'm gonna clown you on this track.
Facts.
I'm gonna make it an anthem. We're gonna dance to it.
Yeah.
And now people are gonna look at Meek Mill like he can't rap, and like that was the craziest thing because
Yeah.
we did not see Mr. Degrassi making that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he killed it.
2016 was crazy.
Right?
2016 Drake. Summer 16.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was just like, "Yo, like,
Drake makes,
thank you." Like,
Drake
this is-
makes calculated moves. Like he
course.
Yo,
doesn't
he's
do
very
anything. Just,
calculated.
He's
he
insane.
doesn't do anything just to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely makes sure that his whole team is behind him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when he makes a statement or he makes a move, it's
Yeah.
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
It's mafia moves, man. He moves
Yeah.
he moves like a mobster.
Yeah,
in a
he
way.
does.
Moves like a mobster. And it
I
just-
mean, you kind of have to though when you really
Yeah.
think about it. It's easy to get singled out and not really have any pull on perception is reality. When you think
Yeah.
about how Rick Ross was able to create Double MG, Rick Ross had his own little buzz, his energy, but then when you start building Double MG with Wale and Meek Mill and Gunplay and the next cat, you're like, yo, Double MG, that's a movement.
It's a movement.
And like, when you have that kind of energy, people respect you more.
For real.
Right? But then as people start moving away from those bigger movements, now like you don't have as much juice. You know? The juice is very important.
Right. His house is very tight. They kept it very in house. So and you can just see it right now, like just the way they have like OVO stores up in Vancouver. They got one in Japan opening up right now. They got one that's in the UK
got
right
a pop
now.
up in LA right now.
Yeah, you know, so they're just like the money's coming in nice, and then he's putting his name. He's in with the whole weed situation now. Now he's doing the weed situation.
Yeah,
That's
the weed
brand new.
spot is crazy. The
But
weed
even
company.
just take it back. Drake was also the first person to have his own hometown festival.
Yeah,
OVO Fest.
OVO
That's a
Fest,
jump
man.
off. Now we're looking at it
You,
like
you
Astro.
attended one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah.
did he start that before, or did Lil Wayne has his Louisiana Fest before or after?
Ooh,
I don't know.
I almost feel that OVO Fest was first. Because OVO Fest is at 9 years now, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
Louisiana, I thought came after. But it wouldn't be weird for him to have it before. Obviously, Lil Wayne was at the top of the game, right?
Absolutely.
So maybe he did have it first. Because Bedroc came in 2009,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And Young Money was on their move. Maybe he did. I could be completely wrong. Maybe our producer could check it out. Shout out to Badria. But the biggest thing is like, I think with OVO Fest, that was a movement for Canada as a whole. This guy's
Yeah,
bringing the best
definitely.
artists in the world. The most recent one.
And aligning it with Caravana was just brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Genius.
Brilliant.
And introducing OVO Bounce, where he has a celebrity basketball tournament
there you go.
after Drew League.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So you do
And
it.
because of those moves, he got, obviously he's the official ambassador of the Raptors. He's out here doing things that
Global
everybody.
ambassador. Like,
Right?
at first we're like, what does that title even mean?
Yeah.
And now we're looking at it like,
This guy has a
it
ring.
means a
He's got a
championship.
ring. He's got his
Yeah.
own plane.
Yeah.
Dog,
Air
bro.
Drake.
He's out here, man. Aubrey's out here.
And obviously his
Aubrey is
house,
out here.
fantastic.
I want to see the house.
Yeah.
Obviously the emergence of, I want to say, the emergence of emo artists and emo R&B. I think we got 808s and Heartbreaks. We had Kid Cudi, but I think, making rap more melodic and, the sad boy term and stuff all came out this decade. The emergence of the Weeknd's melancholic R&B versus like, the grown man, I want to love you girl was more like I'm fucking dying and like I'm on drugs and like or get away from me.
I'm popping
Baby, don't
pills.
leave.
Popping pills and Xannies and all that nonsense.
So that could be also because of how we're dealing with stress as men and as people in general. Like there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, but the emergence of emo rap and that was definitely a thing this decade. What else?
Exposing mental health.
That's I feel
Yeah.
like that's the past couple years.
Yeah.
We definitely spent way more time on trying to understand each other and mental health for sure. We just rest in peace. Juice World just passed
Which is
out
sad.
in the recording of this. Lil Peep. Man, of course we're forgetting a lot of people right now on the spot.
Got Mac up there, Mac Miller.
Mac Miller,
Miller,
that one stung.
Yeah,
that one
man.
stung
Yeah.
because he had a lot to
Unexpected.
offer, man.
Yeah,
was
Mac
again.
was loved.
Yeah. It was just, I mean, it felt out of nowhere, unbeknownst to what Gold Link was talking about, but
I think we're kind of seeing like the ending of the results of what rappers have been rapping about for years. Lean, popping pills,
Yeah.
Percocets, and now we're seeing all these newer, younger artists, talented, amazing artists coming into the industry who have been raised on that, and that's what they think the celebrity life is. And then they also don't know how to deal with this newfound fame, money, all the drama and challenges that come with being a superstar, and they're self-medicating, and now they're dying.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's been wild when you look at that side of things and, the depressing side, but I also think there's been like a lot of happy stuff too. We talked about like the emergence of like power couples or just entertainers, rappers especially being in relationships or happily and openly in relationships. Obviously
Cheating on
Jay-Z.
their wives and girlfriends.
Wow,
but
wow,
they
wow,
are
wow, wow,
showing
wow,
how
wow,
happy
wow,
they are
lemonade,
in
lemonade,
relationships.
lemonade. Jay-Z and Beyonce, obviously we know. But I mean, even wasn't Nelly dating Ashanti? Didn't that come out finally in the 2010s?
They admitted to their 10-year relationship after they were already broken up.
Oh, that's trash.
But
That's crazy.
that's what happened though. And now we have Irv Gotti bouncing around
Oh
everywhere.
yeah, he's popping up.
Yeah.
Who else is power couple relationships that are notable this decade?
Well, Chance and his wife, that's a little power couple.
Word.
You think so? Well, like,
Yeah.
what does she do though?
I think she used to play basketball. I don't know if she's actually in the industry or anything.
Yeah.
But either way, I think like again, just putting the marriage in the forefront has been really cool. Obviously,
Yeah.
Kanye and
J.
Kim.
Cole,
Obviously,
J. Cole got
Kim
married.
Ye is a
Kim
big
Ye is
thing.
big.
You know,
Kim Ye
the
is
way that-
huge.
Because you can
which
see
is weird because obviously when you get on, you leave you ask for a white girl, and now obviously he married the
But
white girl.
she's not
and-
white. She's Armenian.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It's different. In the United States, they would say she's a white girl, but in Canada, because we're multicultural, she's Armenian. She's Middle Eastern. So
Cool. I'm cool with it. I love them both, and I think their family is beautiful.
I think Kanye's a great father and a great husband.
Word.
Yeah.
Honestly.
and he's loved Kim for years.
Yeah,
that's true.
Definitely.
For
He's
sure.
been in love with her for years, and
Definitely.
she finally realized that you got to settle down with a man that loves you more than you love him.
And they are right. They're right for each other. I think her social media like prowess has helped him
Yes.
in a lot of ways.
Oh, big time.
From his low times and just being able to be the best PR machine on the planet.
Yeah.
And I also think he's helped her career flourish because
Definitely.
now we're seeing Kim do more ownership, as opposed to having a middle person. She had a lot of brand campaigns before Kanye where it was just her name on stuff, and now we're seeing her introduce more products under Kim Kardashian West brand. And this is my factory, this is my makeup line, this is my factory, this is my clothing. There's no middle person, so
Yeah.
I think they've helped each other flourish.
Speaking of factory and Kim Ye, I mean obviously the Yeezy, the birth of the Yeezy.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
is the trash shoe.
oh wow,
Trash
are we gonna go
shoe.
there right now, bro?
It's the worst
What do you
shoe
mean?
ever.
I own
What,
it.
what,
I'm
what,
sorry.
what my man said? The Yeezy jumped over the
No,
jump man.
yes,
You know what I
I'm
mean? Yo,
I don't agree with
he
that at all.
he made numbers though.
I have a
He's
pair
got
of
numbers.
Yeezys, and they're very comfortable
You wanna-
shoes.
Extremely
Oh.
comfortable shoe,
wanna
and
rock
you got to
Yeezys?
remember that his silhouettes alone, people are copying now. When he was at
Yes.
Nike, his silhouette
Yeah.
is now the
That's
Kyrie
true.
6, bro.
No,
Yeah.
Like
I
Straight up,
we've
straight
been
up.
copying his silhouettes. Then he creates these new shoes that obviously look like dad shoes.
yeah,
And
But
then
look
what
at look at Balenciaga out here.
Balenciaga.
Do the same thing and then
Balenciaga.
add the
Louis
massive
Vuitton.
chunky
I'm not
bottom.
saying he's not
Prada.
influencing anybody with his shoes, but I'm
Yes.
just saying they're a trash shoe.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
We could talk about the shoes for the whole episode, but maybe next time.
Yeah.
Um, shout out to
We're seeing more artists monetize their influence, because even speaking of that, like we never saw furry flip flops before Rihanna did that Adidas slides.
that's true.
Oh, yeah, it's true.
Rihanna did some things.
Everybody
Yeah.
started doing the furry slides now. Givenchy
Yeah.
had theirs, and I'm like,
I feel like Kanye, not just for the Yeezys, but also let's just talk fashion in general.
Yeah.
Since the polo, that was
Yeah.
kind of like, yo, this guy's rocking a polo and a backpack in hip hop. But just this whole past 10 years, like
Yeah.
I think he's influenced so much in fashion from putting on Virgil Abloh. Now
Exactly.
Virgil obviously is the Louis Vuitton Don, even though it should have been Kanye. I mean,
Yeah.
if you
Should've been
you know what I
Kanye.
mean.
Should
he's
be
done
you,
really-
yeah. Should
I
have been
will
you.
say though, he has done well at Louis Vuitton in the men's.
And he
Yeah.
obviously
actually
had the
done-
Off-White brand, which was massively
We're not
successful.
going to get into
Off-White?
Not a
No,
fan?
But-
he steals everything.
Okay, let's get
He
into
can't-
his
he
Louis Vuitton
can't-
stuff.
He can't steal the Louis Vuitton stuff because they ain't dealing with that.
Okay,
Can't
so
do that.
what has he done good with Louis Vuitton? Because I mean, I'm not really paying attention in that. in that
For the
field
men's
too much.
fashion, I just think it's been really innovative. He's definitely taken notes from Dapper Dan with, using their logos, switching it up, because that's what us urban people, that's what we love is the logo, because we want to show off what we're buying. And yeah, he's just switched it up.
Tight.
Here's a logo all over a shirt. It's going to sell. Louis Vuitton's probably looking at him like, that is so tacky. But it's selling.
Big numbers.
Yeah, talking about tacky, but like your logo, like look at the Champions back out of nowhere, and Champion logo is this massive.
Why is
C
Champion
now.
so expensive, though?
Listen, it's now luxurious.
They're Hollywood.
You
They're
got a
Hollywood.
luxurious Champion. What
Is
else came back?
streetwear now luxury?
Fila's.
It can be,
Are we
definitely.
blurring the lines?
The
You
Fila's
remember
are back.
velour suits?
Fila's back. I got some
Fila's back?
sliders this summer.
Say where you got some Fila
yeah,
sliders.
yeah, I got the Fila's sliders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you don't got the platform feelers, man, we're all good.
Oh, no,
we're all
I'm not
good.
on that.
Platform
No.
ones?
Those
The
little
sneakers?
those white ones that have the 6-inch heel on
Oh,
them. Yeah, those are trash.
Yeah, no.
Ugly,
Yeah,
man.
so bad. But
Right.
yo, girls are loving them.
Yo,
so,
they're rocking it.
That's the thing. What else has happened this decade, man? Fashion in general. We went from obviously baggy clothing to like
Yeah.
slim fitting.
Slim fit.
Yeah,
Now even I'm wearing
practically
like tighter
fitted.
fitting jeans
Yeah,
now. I used
for
to be
I think that
triple
we're
XL.
I think we're ending the decade with people taking more risk and being more into high fashion. We're seeing especially female rappers, even though we've seen it with Lil' Kim where she was doing a lot of high fashion. And then we saw Nicki Minaj doing it, but we didn't see her doing it as well. She's always wearing a bodysuit and a jacket.
If we're gonna talk about Lil' Kim and Nicki, it's funny you say that. Lil' Kim and Nicki at the beginning of the decade, Lil' Kim wasn't giving Nicki no love,
She's still not.
Well, I mean, Nicki.
But we're ending with Nicki saying, "I always used to say that Kim was my favorite rapper, and Rem, and Foxy." Remember the video she put out a
she's
few
saying
months
that
ago?
now only because she gave Cardi B no love, and everyone's like, "You're doing the same thing to Cardi B that you said Lil Kim was doing to you."
So what's up?
Right. So like, what do you think about female rap this past decade? Obviously, you can't talk female rap this past decade without Nicki Minaj.
We started the decade with just Nicki Minaj, and now we're ending with a bunch of females,
right?
And I'm loving it.
It's crazy.
It's good because at the beginning, literally, we had like this dry spell. The only like female in rap for like a few years before Nicki splashed was Fergie. That's it.
Will you call Fergie a rapper?
She wasn't a rapper, but she was with Black Eyed Peas. Like there was no female rap presence after Lauren went. We were just like, so we had like Emile, we had like
we had
Charlie
Eve.
Baltimore, we had
Charlie Baltimore never came
Foxy
out.
Brown.
Foxy Brown, we had Miss Jade. Foxy Brown went deaf,
Yeah.
right?
Missy Elliott.
Miss Jade, Missy Elliott is in a lane of her own. You can't. I don't think she's like a rapper. I think she's like a singing song
Sierra in there
rapper,
too?
pop.
Sarah's a singer.
She's a singer. Like so, when we're talking about like women that were out here just rapping, we had Bahamadia, all those kind of things. Rhapsody started emerging 2012, 2013.
Okay.
Right, but it was one of those things where like we had a gap, and then Nicki came in, and it wasn't just like, oh, she's cute. It was like, did
got
you hear
bars.
Nicki Minaj on
What'd
the
she
Monster
just say?
remix?
She's on Monster on the Monster.
Yeah.
Facts.
I think to this day there's still a lot of not even women, just men in general don't have a better verse than that. So
100%.
right, I think Nicki started off the decade very very strong. That's why it
She
sucks
did.
that she kind of
What happened?
imploded her.
She did.
And didn't really give a branch out to other female artists that were trying to come up.
But I
She was
think
trying
it
to hold her
comes back
spot.
to these celebrities live in an alternate universe where sometimes like they're living in their own hype. And they're allowed to because it's surrounded by it's surrounding them. But at the same time, you need to be human too. And I think that her not embracing Cardi, she says that she did initially, whatever. Okay, sure.
Nobody believes that.
I know nobody believes it.
Yeah.
But I just feel like she really missed it because now after that happened, before that happened, her and Remy were having that beef. And if you remember when Remy did her Summer Jam performance, what did she do? She brought out all the queens. She brought out Queen Latifah. She brought out Cardi. I can't
MC
remember.
Light? Did you bring an MC Light?
I think so, maybe.
I'm not even too sure.
Yeah.
But she brought out a bunch of people, and then when her and the whole Cardi B thing happened, you saw Cardi embracing all these female rappers, and we don't know if it started off as genuine or just to kind of put it out there like I'm doing something that Nicki never did and isn't doing still. But now we're seeing the rise of all these female rappers, and they're coming in the industry being friends, supporting each other, showing each other love, and it's so beautiful. So in a way, maybe it needed to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to
Yes,
happen
yeah,
because
that's
we got Meg Thee Stallion, we got Rico Nasty, we have Asian the Brat, we have Cash Doll. Oh my God, I love Cash Doll.
City Girls, Saweetie.
We got the City Girls,
Hot Girl Summer.
Saweetie,
Dreezy.
and all these women. It's
Young
like they're
M.A.
not just artists now.
Azalea Banks.
No, take her out.
Azalea Banks?
Yeah.
She can rap.
would
but
agree- I would agree
She
with
can
that.
rap, but
semi-canceled.
we don't.
Yeah.
She's been canceled. She's not an artist.
I
She's
seen
just
that.
problematic.
She was snapping on the, what was she was going off about something.
Lizzo
Always,
again.
bro. Always.
Like
She's always
Lizzo
doing
raps.
she's always.
And again, Rhapsody naturally. Like Rhapsody's album was one of my favorite of
Fire.
the year. She didn't even get
Fire.
nominated, but
It
I mean,
is.
who cares about the Grammys
Great
in
album.
that respect?
But then also we're seeing the evolution of female rappers where it's just like they're entrepreneurs now. They're becoming moguls. And, Nicki started that. A lot of female rappers were working with designers. They were doing partnerships, but they weren't doing on the level she was.
Yeah.
And
Nicki blew it up.
She did. And
Yeah.
now we're seeing every female artist come out. They have something following their music, which is amazing because we don't know how long it's going to last.
That's true. That's true.
I think we are entering an era where there is more space for just more. I seen all the time this decade because even myself as a previous artist and
Previous
coming
artist
into
or
this,
current?
Listen, hiatus. I'm a hiatus. But it's one of those things that we saw people be like, oh, there's no good music anymore.
Facts.
Whether it's backpack or underground rap, that kind of stuff. Whereas now, saying that means that you're just not paying attention. There's more music now than ever, and you just got to search
much.
instead of it being doctored to you. Now you just got to search. You got to spend the time to look at for the new artists and then. Do a little bit of your research, and then you can go ahead and say.
It's all about the research because look on a daily basis, like on a weekly basis, an album drops.
Yo.
Like you don't even hear about
It's
it. Like
daily,
it
yeah.
just drops on the daily. It's
Troy,
like-
I've just dropped an album. I saw that on
ain't
Apple
nobody-
Music yesterday.
No one's checking for Troy Ave anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, okay.
That's the thing. Like most artists, you just drop on
But-
Fridays. Now.
Yeah.
Drop on
Fridays or
Fridays.
Tuesday. Remember when it
Used to be
Tuesdays?
Tuesday
Used to
CDs,
be
right? That was the
Tuesday
day.
CDs,
Now
yeah.
it's like
Whole
on
industry
Fridays.
shifted, man, and
Mhm.
changed.
Yeah.
Fridays on weekends and stuff.
Doing surprise albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Beyonce really kicked that off, right? Before it used to be you gotta drop the single, you gotta have a massive
gotta
ramp up, promo,
You
all
gotta
that
have
kind
a
of stuff.
video for it.
But now because you got Instagram, you got a massive following.
Exactly.
Radio tours.
Drop it,
Drop
done.
it right
Your
away.
whole following instantly is able to follow your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Between pre-saving and obviously just putting the link in bio or putting the swipe up feature, like it's really changed the game for sure.
Even social media, talking about that, social media has really changed the industry.
Definitely.
You know?
Speaking of changing the industry and beefs and on the female side, I guess going back over to like the rap side, like what were some of your favorite beefs this decade? I mean, obviously you had Drake and Meek Mill, but there was a bunch. I mean,
My favorite was when my favorite response was when Cardi B, when she went off and she had the red wig, she had the cornrows, and she had the little hoop jewels, get into the fashions, no makeup, and she called Nicki Minaj, what did she say, Chung Lee the Street Fighter?
I didn't even
wow.
check for
She's
it
like,
that.
which
That's
one
crazy.
is it? When they finally were going back and forth, and Nicki was responding on Twitter, but Cardi was doing videos on her actual Instagram page, and that's when they dropped all the information on what happened with the motorsport feature, what was the conversation at
Oh
the Met Gala
yeah,
when they
yeah.
took
When
the
on the
picture,
verse, right?
what happened at the Harper's Bazaar party when the fight actually happened. Like, that's when we really got all the tea that we wanted. It was beautiful. And then they ended it with the, okay, we ain't gonna talk about each other no more. Cool.
Yeah, they were together on Motorsport there, and even
That was a
obviously
missed opportunity.
missed opportunity. for
What
sure.
a,
That track's hard too.
it's a
hard.
beautiful track.
It's a good
It was a
track.
great video, but it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, man. I mean, we touched on fashion. We touched on the marketing that's changed. We touched on, some of these beefs. I mean, is there anything else that comes to mind beef wise?
I'm trying to think about male rappers, man. Like,
I mean, we had
Meek Mill and Drake.
it was Meek Mill and Drake is
Yeah,
the
the
one.
MGK,
but,
the MGK
and
Eminem
Eminem
beef.
one,
Remember
which
that?
was
That was corny.
yeah, I remember
Like,
that.
where
was-
is he? Is he
Who?
still making MGK?
MGK, he's out here.
Yeah, he's still out here. He
he's
was just
still
in
out here.
Calgary this summer.
I think he
Yeah.
had to just like.
Yeah, he was on tour just this summer.
Can we talk about the random relationships that happened? Speaking of MGK, remember when he was dating Amber Rose? Do y'all
Yeah.
remember that?
Oh,
Oh
word,
wow,
that happened.
that's deep.
That's crazy.
That was weird.
Did she date a bunch of people? So she dated obviously Kanye at the beginning.
She
of the
started with
decade.
Kanye. He brought her
Wiz
out.
Khalifa.
She got married to Wiz Khalifa
Got the
and
baby.
had
Oh, wow.
a beautiful. They were married.
Yeah, baby
And they had a
Bash.
beautiful, yes, baby
got
Bash,
Bash.
so
Bash,
adorable.
yeah.
Then they got divorced, and that was a whole drama on social media. Hot 97, David Rosenberg or Peter Rose, what's his name?
Peter Rosenberg.
Did that whole spiel on
Oh, dangle.
on Hot 97, basically saying that she walked in on him with two twins or something.
Wow.
Crazy. So that was random. And then she started dating a few athletes, put in a little Machine Gun Kelly, and now a member of Chris Brown's camp.
No,
Is the guy she's with now?
no, she's not. She's with.
Who's her baby daddy now?
Oh man,
His name is like AE something.
I don't even
the guy she's dating is a rapper. No, isn't it? No, Playboy Cardi's dating Izzy Azalea, right?
Yeah, he is. And apparently
Okay.
she's pregnant.
Oh wow.
We don't know though. That's not confirmed to you.
No idea. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, going off relationships and everything. Bringing it back to the music, I think. What were some of your favorite artists of the decade?
For me, well, not. I don't know if she's like for the decade, but for 2019 was Amber Mark.
I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, she's from the UK.
Okay.
She covered a version of a Sade song, and she just kind of blew up virally off of that, and I've been feeling her music ever since.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I think it's dope whenever, like I said, on that whole, there's just so much new music now. It's not about whatever the machine's pumping up at us.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
definitely about what's out there, and you can find a SoundCloud rapper. Like, I mean, shout out to a guy like Russ. Russ
Oh,
came,
yeah, for
Russ
sure.
came out of nowhere, but he's been
Russ
making
out
music
here.
for 10 years, dropping
And
a song a
he
week.
sells out like
Arenas.
Staples Center,
yeah.
man. That's 22,000 people. Boom,
Cult
by
following.
himself.
Crazy.
No openers, no headliner. He's the
Cult
headliner.
following?
Call following?
Yeah.
Cult following? No?
I don't know.
His music's good. People fuck with it.
I feel like a
Never heard of
cult
him.
includes more
sorry.
more stuff like branding
I'll
and
Google
everything
it.
like that. But I just know him as an artist.
Yeah,
has a
no,
lot.
he's got a crazy following though.
Yeah, he's got a
Yeah,
crazy.
does.
phone.
And for his generation, he's the generation of like the Drakes, the J. Coles, the Kendricks. Who
I think he's younger. He's younger than that.
No, I think he's around the same age as those guys.
Okay, he can be the same age, but I think like his music.
When
when it
Oh
came
yeah,
out, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
But
That's
he's
level.
but like we said, like he did sell out Staples Center, which is crazy, right? And the artists that are doing that are the J. Coles, are the Kendricks, and the Drakes. Like Staples Center is not easy just to sell out as a
not
solo
at all.
artist.
He was actually the best part I like about him. On top of his music, is that he's bringing a lot of real to the game. As long as as far as having conversations and really bigging up what independence really looks like, and then being like, listen, man, like you can be an artist as long as you have real fans by making real music, and that means they will come out and know your songs versus leveraging all the other guys that are it guys. And then your run's done after a year. Like you won't even be here next summer because you don't have true fans, people that listen to your music. You don't have a body of work. So I love what he says and how he exudes himself. Obviously, his humility is a little lacking, but that's dope too. I think as rappers, you got to have braggadocio, and he just takes it to the fullest. He doesn't. He's not fake with it, right? I really appreciate what he brings to the game. Also, the whole Ari Lennox thing, which is more recent. Her not winning a Soul Train award, and her album was the most soulful album that was out.
She should have won.
I don't think there was anything. I don't think there's a question there. And because when you're talking like soul, true soul, neo soul, or whatever, but true soul, like
It's really good.
he's like a '70s artist in 2019, like that we're experiencing it live. So for Soul Train to kind of whiff on that, but for him to step in front of it, we didn't hear J. Cole say anything. We didn't hear anyone from Dreamville say anything.
No.
Russ is out here like, you guys are crazy. This girl should have won this. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, yo,
I need to see
This
more
guy's
of that in the
invited-
next decade.
this guy's invited to every cookout forever,
Facts.
all time.
No, I need to see more of
Yeah,
the
it's
male
funny that
artists
J. Cole
supporting.
didn't get out in front of that. Hey,
Are we
say something
surprised
about
though?
J. Cole's
Are
not
we
necessarily online,
surprised?
so I'm not
Why?
gonna get on the mans for that. But it's like
Why?
it is his
No.
label.
Why-
I want to hear this.
What are you
Why?
trying to say, Tanisha?
What are you
What?
saying right now?
I'm just saying, like, male artists do not support female artists like that, and I need to see more of that going into the next decade. We need to see more of that because these female artists always support the male artists. They always give them their credit. They champion them. They support their new music. If there's issues happening, they talk about it on their social media platforms, but we never see that reciprocated. So that
You
needs
in
to
line?
change.
You in line?
No.
I think a lot of artists did want to and did work with Nicki. I think they're doing the same thing with Cardi B. I think the Migos have done a lot of good stuff to give Cardi B her own platform outside of herself. She created herself through what reality TV really.
But
is
they're
what
also on
Cardi
the
B's
same
come up, right?
management.
Is she reality TV? I know she's Instagram.
Yeah, she started off
She was-
on
she was-
Love and
Started
Hip
off
Hop.
on Lip and Hip Hop.
Yeah,
but
that's
she
what
was
she's
already
from.
a personality on social media. She had a huge following on social media
Yeah.
before getting on Love and Hip Hop.
Speaking
And
of Love
then-
and Hip Hop, that's also this decade.
Yes.
Reality TV.
Yeah.
Started by Jim
rappers.
Jones and Chrissy Lampkins.
I've never
Never
watched
forget.
a single episode of reality TV. Have you? Did you guys check it
Yeah,
out?
I
It's
checked it
amazing.
out.
I seen like little clips on the ground.
Yes.
So what's
It's like
like
the new way for people to get new artists to get on and try
Yo,
to start
even
their music
Saigon
careers.
was on. the
Yes,
TV.
I was
like,
actually
I know
been
there's, like,
watching
I know-
the
I know
recap.
bare
Remember
rappers.
Consequence was on there?
Yeah, Consequence was on there.
Consequence.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how I found out that Kanye West had a ghostwriter. That's not really a ghost.
Well, no,
Yeah.
but Kanye openly talks about he collaboratively creates songs, so that's not really a thing. But it's cool. I mean, like, what were some of the best moments in reality TV? I didn't watch any of it, right? So
When
Flavor of
Chrissy
Love.
dragged Kim Bella for admitting that she was sleeping with Fabulous while Emily B was pregnant with their child.
uh-oh.
Wow.
When did this happen?
Never forget.
T
Never forget.
When did this happen?
T
This was on season 2 of Love and Hip Hop.
T. What else?
That was an amazing moment.
Sorry, Fabulous.
Well, Fabulous got in some trouble recently too. Obviously,
With the
it stem from-
domestic violence.
Did it stem from that?
What? That
Him hitting his girl, or like
No,
No,
that's
because this came out like 8 years ago.
Ongoing like domestic violence has been going on with the two of them.
Oh man.
Yeah, he pulled a knife on his father-in-law, didn't he?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
video
Yeah.
that dropped. And apparently he knocked out her teeth.
Yeah.
Fab?
Yeah.
Fab.
Fab's out here like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yo.
Apparently
Yeah.
the police reports were dropped, so yeah.
Crazy.
What?
It's-
Yeah, that's. Who else was on reality TV though? I mean, Jim Jones. There's Jay Smooth.
Who else was on there on the New York one? Well, we saw. Well, I don't know if Mandy sees anyone knew him before then. No. We definitely saw Mano go on last season, which I really
Mano
loved.
was on there.
Mano was on there with his girlfriend, Maggie, which she actually got shot during that whole shooting that happened.
Shot?
Yeah, so he was performing at where was the venue, the infamous venue in New York with the whole Troy Ave and
that situation.
Urban Plaza. So she actually got shot that night.
Wow.
She was in the back of the green room and she was meeting him there, and yeah, it was crazy. So that was her storyline last season, talking about that.
That's crazy.
So crazy. We saw Safari considered musical.
Listen, Safari ghost role for Nicki Minaj. So if we're gonna talk, about that, he did.
What?
He
Yeah.
did.
What? We gonna do Nicki like that? Like
No,
Nicki?
it's true. It's not. It's
It's
facts.
not. This isn't
Facts.
like smear.
How we know that
Safari,
was
That's an
Safari's
open
written
thing.
bars.
Wrote those hits, man.
Nicki says that she has always written her own
I
raps.
don't doubt
No
that she
help.
has written. No. That's not how it works.
She says no help.
I don't know
Her
about that.
no
I don't know
input from
about
other
that word.
people.
We just talked about how Nicki also said that she dapped up Cardi B at the beginning and Lil Kim, right? We know that Nicki's not always
She
telling
did
us the truth.
but no, she did do those things. Whether it was genuine is the part that's questionable.
Right.
Because I remember when Cardi got her first #1, she tweeted, "Congratulations, Barty." When Remy Ma was in jail and coming home, she posted when Instagram went crazy saying the queen is coming back and they're doing the countdown. Nicki posted it.
Okay.
Nicki was in support.
Okay.
When she came out, she was publicly supporting Kim, but was it genuine?
Right.
We don't know. Did something happen behind the scenes where she got in her feelings and she started doing a little gossiping, a little chatty pattying? We don't know. But
Little this, little that. That's also another thing that came
Little
out
sauce.
this decade. The littles, the return of the littles.
Yeah,
Lil TJ, Lil
Lil Pump.
Lil
Yachty.
Lil Yachty.
Lil Baby.
Lil Baby.
Little baby. Oh my gosh.
Man, there's a lot.
Yeah, what's up with the littles though?
Yeah, I
The
thought
Return
that
of the Littles,
died.
guy. No, the
We
return.
had like Little
I thought
Bow
that
Wow.
was done.
We
I
had
thought it
Little
was done.
Zane.
Yeah.
We had Little Wayne. We had Little Romeo.
Lil Jon.
Lil Jon.
These are all things, right? So like the littles are back now.
man.
It's definitely a thing. I think it's also part of like American down south slang, but it is like also a thing. It's either you're little or you're young. I think
That's true.
right. And then
Yeah,
obviously
Jeezy.
even the guy like Jeezy, as he got older, he's just like I'm
He
gonna
dropped
drop
the
the
young.
young.
Yeah.
Had
Jeezy.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
But you know what? We're also seeing. I feel like we're almost seeing the evolution of artists keeping their names. Like a lot of artists have, especially the older artists, their names have transitioned and we're not seeing that anymore. Like I feel like the last one that we would have seen was maybe 2 Chainz. The last
TD
artist
Boy?
to change their name.
Yeah, TD Boy to 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I mean, we don't even really know because the artists when they pop is usually when we know about. Was the baby's name always the baby?
I'm pretty sure.
Was it? Oh.
Pretty sure. Or was it Baby?
Whose idea was that?
I don't know.
I think it was the Baby. I'm pretty sure.
It's very interesting. Yeah, man. I mean, I think that resurgence of that, but also the littles and the youngs, they're all also brought in and they're fostering and they're holding on to that extra melodic, rap now. Rap now.
Yeah.
You can't even be a rap artist without being melodic. You know what I
sure.
mean? And that's, I think, the big divide too when you're talking about, new age versus not new age, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you think we're taking with us into the next decade then? As far as like the artists that we like, from this decade, we never really got much into it. Obviously, you said Amber Clark and
Amber Mark, yeah.
Amber Mark,
Yeah.
right? But I mean, like, I think going into the next decade, man, I think there's a lot of good things to look forward to.
I'm looking for
Ownership.
more Burna Boy features.
Yeah,
Yo.
Shout out Africa,
Afrobeats.
man.
Afrobeats,
Crazy.
crazy.
2017
Yeah.
to now has been
Yeah.
probably even 2016. Like
Yeah.
Kanye first signed Mans to Good Music, and that was a big bold movie. Where just like Oliver Twist was like the song, and like Kanye was in the video. This Nigerian artist, the Banj, and you're kind of like, what? Like
What's going on
What's
over
going
here?
on?
over here? And then all of a sudden you fast forward, Wizkid
Yeah.
gets with Drake, Come Closer, right? Like now you're just like that's a bop.
Yeah.
And then now the whole way between Wizkid, Burna Boy,
DeVito.
DeVito, yeah.
Tierra Whack,
Afrobeats is a.
man, a bunch of
It's a
people.
whole bunch. Like West Africa's just out here.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
just like, it's
Really?
been really, really dope to see. I think
Yeah.
even when you look at what Jidenna started as a
Yeah.
rapper, but now he's like going back to his Nigerian roots and
is
making
Yeah.
more like
so
Afrobeat
He's
music.
touring over Africa crazy. Like right now, he's in Africa like heavy, just on
Yeah.
tour.
Yeah, and like actually, the funny thing about jumping out of music real quick, the the CEO of Twitter is like, I'm moving to Africa next year because Africa's the next wave. So I'm going to go live there for the next year, which is crazy.
Okay, Twitter.
Yeah.
Who is the owner of Twitter?
Sure.
I forget his name.
Do we know his name?
Sure.
Unproblematic.
But it's one of those things where it's like Afrobeats is like opening up, people's appreciation of Africa.
other cultures.
Because naturally we always thought, Africa, not us, but general mainstream media says that, Africa is third world and the kids,
that they're
no
behind
electricity.
us.
But there's so much rich resources in Africa, though.
Potential
And just good life, man. A good
Yeah.
time. People, the return of like West Africa, all that kind of stuff. People get into it,
Absolutely.
and the
I think
return
all the
of
regions
Africa-
are coming on the map because we're seeing more crossover with even like dancehall and reggae, UK grime.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, you
UK
know,
grime. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh
Shout out
my
my boy
goodness.
Dave.
Oh my God,
Wiley.
Wiley
Dave.
Skepta got big on, got bigged up obviously by Drake and OVO, but Skepta's been doing this thing for the past like
For a long
12
time.
years, right?
Yeah.
Wiley Gigs has been doing a big thing. Drake did some.
J Hus.
J Hus is nice.
AJ Tracy.
Yeah.
Yo, they out here, man. They
UK
out here.
grime, like it's definitely like the thing about grime too is like a lot of people have that argument: is it rap? Is it hip hop?
Yeah.
It's definitely influenced by it, but it's definitely its own lane, like
Its own genre.
specifically its own genre. And
it's like its own little branch.
yeah, and they big ups to the UK because they champion their own music.
Yes,
What do you
they
do?
do.
It wasn't us doing it for them. They created their own radio stations. They created their own genre, and they pushed it out in their own ways to a point that now someone like Drake looks over the pond and is like, "Yo,
Yo, what you got saying over
let
there?
me get in on that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of like a big thing that we can say, like, okay, we can create our own kind of waves of stuff, and as long as we can push it and stick with it. So
I like seeing artists, mainstream American artists, sit here and go to other cultures and embrace them.
Yeah.
And not just take from them and create a whole album from their sound, but actually like lending a hand and saying, hey, come over here, introducing them to us. I love that. And I feel like we're also seeing a lot of the older artists sit here and lend out a helping hand to the new artists that are coming into the industry.
There's a little bit of that. I think that's actually been a big conversation that's happened because of podcasting. Shout out to, obviously the Pay Attention podcast, but podcasting in general, I think it's created more dialogue. And from this dialogue, we've been saying, like, look, there's no OGs telling the young G's what to say or how to move or how to act. And now because of that, like even Irv Gotti, speaking of, he went on Drink Champs and Noriega's talking like this, that, to whatever. And Irv Gotti, being the guy with all the ideas that he has, he's like, yo, you need to be interviewing the youth up here. And they were like, no, dog. And for 20 minutes back and forth, they're like, guy, we only interview the OGs because nobody interviews the OGs.
Yeah.
Nobody goes and talks to, Big Daddy Kane and stuff. So that's our platform. And he's like,
I
no, you don't get it.
I wouldn't want to see Drink Champs doing younger people because
Hold on,
I feel like
this is the point. This is when you become the culture. Now you're an arena for everybody to pay attention. I'm not checking for Big Daddy Kane, but if I'm checking for a younger new rapper, and then they have Big Daddy Kane on that episode, and I'm like, oh, I had no idea you were still making music, or that's what happened. Or
so you want them to have 2 guests instead of 1?
Not 2 guests, but just the fact that you're on the channel and you pay attention to them because you like who they are and how they present people. Then now you have faith in who they're interviewing, and then now you're brought on to an OG, and you're like, I'm gonna check out this OG because I rate these guys. And now you're watching the OG talk, and you're like, oh, I can learn from this OG.
I can see both sides, but I still don't want them to do it.
I think when you divide things, like that's normally how you got to build your brand. You got to do your own thing. But the crossover,
stick to your niche.
Exactly, that crossover is where the true power is, because
that's true.
If I'm a young kid and I don't know who my OGs are, how do I know to go look to a station or a channel for that OG? It's not like there's a main list somewhere that says OGs only over here,
talk to these guys.
right?
So
but
who should be their next guest?
I think they're bringing Russ on.
Okay.
Speaking of, but I think they can talk to guys like Roddy Ricch. I think they can talk to a Chance the Rapper. I think they can talk to, even an ASAP Rocky. It's like these are guys that are like in that middle of the pack who are middle child. Shout out to J. Cole, middle childs from that that new generation going to old generation now.
Sure.
And I think once they open up dialogue, we can start talking about the things that are kind of like that we're missing out on. I'm like, how do I act? How do I have longevity in my career? What kind of brand should I align myself with?
Do you not think that will kind of hurt their podcast a bit? Because the reason why I like Drink Champs is because Nori has a personal relationship with all the artists, and we're always hearing about these amazing stories that we've never heard from. So because he doesn't have an actual relationship with some of these newer artists, will it be as entertaining?
Well,
will
I mean,
it be as great a conversation?
That's just one
a good
example,
question.
though, right? It's just one like example of it. I think through interviewing is how you find people, right? And like they Drink Champs, they do it with drinks. So naturally, if you're loose, you're gonna
and
have
also
more
their
conversation.
relationship.
Yeah, it's like, yo, I didn't know you before, but this was a dope talk. Like, let's chop it up after. Like, so as an idea, I think podcasting is giving us like good, conversations and understanding of the youth and everything, right? So I think when we're talking about what else goes into the next decade,
what are our amazing artists of the decade? Like,
you said Amber Clark. I was
Amber
talking
Mark.
about Amber Mark.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez.
You love Tory Lanez? That's your guy?
I love Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
I need him to get more recognition going into this next decade because he's so talented. Let's see. What other artists are out there that you guys have been
I said
checking
Burna
for?
Boy.
You said Burna Boy?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw Cardi B out there. I don't care.
Oh, Cardi B's dope, man.
My boy Roddy Rich for sure.
Roddy Rich, nice. I just found a new guy the other day, man. Pop Smoke, I think.
Oh Lord.
Yesterday. He didn't find him the other day. Yesterday.
The other
last
day.
night.
Listen, Pop Smoke, baby. Hey. That's my thing right there, man.
Oh
Watch
my
Pop
gosh.
Smoke 2020. Everybody check out for Pop Smoke.
I know he's amazing. I just think it's funny.
I'm putting you guys on him right now. If you're not on
They're
Pop Smoke.
already on him. You're the last person.
Listen, fam. You just found out about Pop Smoke.
I found out about him today.
Oh
Don't
my
worry,
gosh.
don't worry.
I'm so sorry.
So it's all
Pop
good,
Smoke.
like-
I don't know what's wrong with them.
I think he's going to have some energy because he's the way that he presents his music and everything is a little bit of what's been missing too. So it's going to be cool to see what he can do.
Are we going to get a Young M.A. album?
Do
Right?
do we want a Young M.A. album? Can you tell me a single one of her choruses?
She don't know it.
No.
Right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
Young M.A.
I have
is one
a bad
of my
memory.
favorite spitters. One of my favorite spitters, but like she hasn't made a song yet.
Well, she hasn't, but do we think it's because of her situation that she was in with management and stuff?
No. This is just down to like making a song.
Making
and she
a
has
song, putting it
bars
out there.
forever.
Yeah.
I love how she spits. I love how she gets on
Yeah.
tracks,
got
but she doesn't
bars.
make songs. Like
Yeah.
she doesn't have a hook where you can actually sing along to the hook and then goes back to the verses.
You think she needs more artist development?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
agree
I
with
think
that.
artist
sir.
development is coming back.
Yeah.
I feel like, we started this year with artist development, and as the decade went on, because so many artists were coming out on social media, having their own following, that labels were just like, here's your check, let's put out an album, and that's it. And now I feel like we're ending the year where we're starting to see labels like Quality Control, where they're actually doing a bit of artist development. We're seeing Rock Nation through their management doing a bit more artist development.
Rock Nation's killing it.
They are the
Yeah.
blueprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dope.
Griselda.
To do. Actually, Jay-Z just made the CEO this woman who's been with Rock Nations from the very beginning.
Tell us about this woman.
I forget her name, but she's now the CEO. So Jay-Z is moving on to work more on sports and other things in his catalog and his portfolio.
Word.
And this lady now runs Rock Nation.
Is she a black lady?
No,
she's Spanish.
I think she's Spanish, something like that.
It's
But it's
okay.
still
Women of
dope.
color.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Black
other
and
artists
brown.
though? I think if we want to represent Canada, like I love what Jessie Reyez has been doing this past few years, and now on, she just got nominated for a Grammy.
That face.
Got
you
nominated
made.
for a Grammy. So like I love
big time. That's
what she
right.
can represent for us. Now we're talking about a new wave of artists. We had Drake, but if we can get The Weeknd, but if we can get some new blood in there like
Yeah,
Jessie
Toby, I think
Reyez.
Toby's on the way up too.
Toby's dope.
Can
He's got a
we
long
get
way
back
to go, but
Party
Toby's
Next Door?
Very, very dope.
He's on the way up.
Party Next Door.
Can we bring back Party Next Door?
Party
Stop
Next Door,
writing
he
for other
dropped two
people.
singles. Did you
Didn't
check them
like
out?
it. Didn't like Loyalty.
So he's there.
I'm very upset.
He's here.
I'm upset.
He's coming.
No one's
I'm
keeping him
upset.
back. He just has to make better music for us.
No, he needs
I'm
to
upset.
keep the better music that he's making.
That's true. I mean,
Okay.
he secures the bag on that. one.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
feeling what Griselda is doing. Benny the
Griselda's-
Butcher.
Oh yeah.
West Side Gun.
And Conway.
Conway the Machine. Yeah.
What do we think of Meg the Stallion?
Love Meg The Stallion.
I've never heard anything she's done.
This podcast is now over. We'll talk to you guys. What do you mean, bro?
I've never been checking for her.
No, she's like
You ever
she
heard Freak Nasty?
No.
Freak
she
Nasty.
represents just
Or
energy.
Simon Says?
No.
Simon
Energy,
Said,
energy for like what women I think they want to go party to and they want to
Yes.
do for themselves, but they don't want to do themselves. They're like, yo, you are.
She's talking
energy?
that ish.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Megan Thee Stallion reminds me of of Nicki Minaj, but I feel like what she talks about, her content is more diverse.
I get
feel
more.
like.
I get more of a Trina from her. Like
Really?
I get more like a party girl. Like she's here to party,
She
right?
is
So she gives us that
definitely, but
energy.
I also feel like she's not saying the same thing over and over.
No, she is. I think Meg The Stallion
And
is
her
actually
bars
just really
are
dope.
like, whoo, and her freestyle, like, what?
Like if we're talking like bars, it's for me. It's still Rhapsody. Rhapsody is one of the top artist, not
for sure.
female
Yeah,
or male,
absolutely.
like just
Yeah,
artist,
for sure.
period.
Artist.
100%.
Right? So it's not necessarily about saying like she's barring out, but I do love how Meg Thee Stallion makes really entertaining music. Jay-Z tells us this, it's only entertainment. Like rap, hip hop,
Yeah.
mainstream artistry is entertainment. And I think what Meg Thee Stallion does is entertainment. She gets
Well,
there,
I'll
she
be
twerks,
looking for her.
she raps
Yes.
while she's
Yeah,
twerking,
that's what I'm saying.
but you don't feel like, she's doing it submissively. You do like she's doing it out of power.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
She got some
yo.
strong knees.
The Meg, the
She's got
stallion.
some
knee.
strong
No,
knees.
facts,
It's
bro.
a thing on social
Facts.
media.
She
Bro.
twerks like 4 minutes straight. 4 minutes straight.
Her knees
Got the
crazy.
strong knees.
Knees
I
crazy,
can't do
man.
it, Meg. I gotta practice, dog.
knees are
I
crazy.
Wow.
gotta practice. No, it's true.
Crazy.
And you know what I also like? What's happening with female rap right now is that we're seeing different types of female rap. Like everyone doesn't look the same. Everyone does not sound the same. Everyone's not talking about the same things, or even if they are, it sounds different.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's showing that women we're multifaceted.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
We're not all looking the same, doing the same. Like you look at girls like Rico Nasty,
Mhm.
woo, her fashion, her looks like
Different look for sure.
she doesn't look like nobody else.
Yeah.
You look like Asian the Brat. You got Cash Doll, where it's like furs, mink coats, big watches, hair done, nails done. Like it's a look.
Yeah. I think we got a lot to look forward to for 2020. Between
I'm excited.
The women that are coming out,
Mhm.
obviously
Sure.
the artists, the diversity in music, whether it's underground, whether it's bars, whether it's street music, whether
Yeah.
it's for the club. I think we got a lot to look forward to, and I think when we're talking about what pay attention is going to bring to the format, we want to talk
Sure.
everything from local to global. We want to talk about what's happening here in Calgary. We want to talk about what's happening in Canada. We want to obviously, branch out and understand what's happening in the world. We want to be part of that conversation. We want to just have a good time. So, you guys have any last thoughts about, our first pay attention experience and, what to look forward to this upcoming podcast?
I look forward to advocating for Black women.
Hey, okay, baby,
and arguing.
Yay.
Oh my God, and being the voice of reason.
No, I'm looking forward to just breaking that barrier and just talking about things that from our perspective we can talk about, and we can kind of show that in the light of Calgary also and about Canada. So I'm excited to talk about that.
Finish that up real quick.
I'm excited to talk about more music, and what's going on in the music industry, also the culture, right?
In general, I think we all talked about obviously helping out and bigging up Calgary. I don't know if we talked too much about Calgary this time around, but I think there's some good artists that we could be looking forward to.
For sure.
Homegirl Kaya Aloe is dropping some music coming up soon.
I'm excited about that.
Right, there we
Wow.
go. We got Q Benjamin coming back on the scene, representing Calgary and Edmonton.
We have Savon,
We got
newly named.
Savon Matar. He's out here doing his thing,
Yeah,
doing
I've
his
seen
thing.
it.
Shout out to the boy Lyric. He grinds
Yeah.
really
Lyric.
hard.
Love Lyric.
Dropping
Lyric
music.
is too much.
You know
with
what
the
I mean?
grind.
Yeah, man. Excited. Obviously, we got the producers as well. Roger just got on the Tory Lanez project.
Word.
On the take there, but he's also worked with Eric Bellinger, Ali. He's got another Chris Brown
Talented.
record in the works. So we got
Amazing.
producers doing some things, man.
Things going on in the city, man.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to what we have to offer here, man. But this was 10X Pay Attention. It's your boy Beni J,
It's your girl Tanisha Cherry.
It's your boy Henny V.
It's your boy Bedroc.
and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
One time.